What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's BWIZE, spelled with a Z, now with an S. Today, I want to talk about some real deep issues that I feel like needs to be addressed, especially in our society today as we live in. A couple shout outs though before I begin. Shout out to my new subscribers. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was at 26 subscribers. Now I'm at 68, so thank you guys. Continue to support, continue to subscribe. But today I want to talk about the prison system, and this actually is going to be a series of talks. I don't know how long, but it's going to be at least a 2 to 3 part series talking about the prison system and how big of a business it is. So I'm going to actually read some stats talking about our prison system. Now the ironic part is I do work within the court system itself, and I can tell you from a POV, a point of view, every single day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, I can tell you that the system is made as a business. You are a product. And what you do is a product. So from anything to getting a seatbelt ticket to a misdemeanor to anything dealing with a DUI, domestic battery, petty theft, anything of that nature, it does cost you. Now, what people do not understand is that the court system, particularly, is not in the business in solving the problem. And here's where I want to get into it at. Okay, so for a domestic battery, hypothetically speaking, if a man, let's say if a man and a woman is in a particular relationship and the woman is beating on the man, let's say this goes on for 2 years, right? So let's say the man actually gets fed up. One day they get into an argument and the woman gets the man gets fed up with the woman beating on him. So this particular time the woman actually hits the man or assaults the man physically, and the man decides to defend himself and actually either, pushes her off of him just to get her off of him, and then she calls the cops. The cops come, fill out a report, they charge him, they cite him with a domestic battery. They go to court, they tell their two sides, and he's found guilty of domestic battery. Now, take a look at what happens. What the court system does not do is they do not do a thorough check of a background of the scenario. So what happens is when the man is found guilty of this domestic battery, he is sent to a provider. He can do a parenting class. He can do a domestic battery class. He may have to do a drug and alcohol evaluation, a mental health evaluation based on the current scenario. But let's just stick with that scenario, okay? So he's found guilty. He has a domestic battery. And I've seen firsthand that this guy is sentenced to go get a domestic violence assessment that costs between $150 to $200. That is ridiculous. And he's not even the problem. He may not even be the problem. That's not even including court costs. That's not even including the time wasted away from his job, away from his family, that he has to suffer the consequence of, because he may not even be the problem in the scenario. And that can work vice versa. Man beats woman, woman defends herself, she's cited for domestic battery, and then that goes up on your record. So you as a American citizen must understand that you are a walking dollar to the court system. That means that any infraction that you do, from jaywalking to not wearing your seatbelt, which I never understood. Why are you going to ticket me for not using a belt that may potentially save my life? To me, that is ridiculous. You shouldn't charge me $10 or wherever state that you live. You shouldn't charge me for that for me not wanting to save my own life. So even the parking meters, to me it's a disgrace that we have to pay whatever we got to pay for parking. That is because it's free space. So regardless of the fact though, let's get into some bigger issues about the incarceration system and how big of a business it actually is. Now I just gave you a scenario on a low level what actually happens in I just gave you a POV of what actually happens in a courtroom. Now actually, with that being said, also you got to understand, when people are governed by people, you have no perfect system. The justice system is set up, and the mindset of the justice system is to some degree a utopia, to create a utopia to eliminate chaos. However, it is more chaotic I'm gonna let you guys take a look at this stat. Listen to this stat. 25% of the population of the incarceration population is of the United States. Yet the United States only has a 5% population, a 5% population of the world. I'm gonna say that again. 25% of the United States is incarcerated. Of the world, of the population of the world is incarcerated. So that means we take up a quarter of the people in the world that we have in the United States are incarcerated. But we only represent 5% of the population. That means we have almost twice as many people incarcerated than we actually have in our population. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And our whole justice system is to actually push the fact that to create these certain laws, to create this utopia to a certain degree of a system, it actually makes chaos worse. Okay. In other countries, they have, like in certain countries like Poland and certain countries like Greenland, Iceland, these countries, Amsterdam, why do these people why do these countries have low incarceration rates? Why is that? It's because and I do understand to some degree there is capitalism in those governing bodies. However, why is that the United States and the judicial system in this land that we live in project that we are so perfect, we are so good, everybody wants to come here, but yet we have one of the highest rates of murder, highest rates of incarceration? Why is that? It is because the system is designed for you to fail. It is not designed for you to succeed. And what people do and what the justice system does, or what certain people, the powers that be, basically says, well, we set this person on a pedestal, everybody look at that person, say he made it, and then suggest that you can make it too, when in actuality that person just may have slipped through the cracks. And I'm kind of going off the trail here, but in essence, at the core of what I'm trying to get to is that the system puts in place, doesn't give you the proper education, doesn't give you the proper resources, and that's less people that have resources than that people that grew up with an inheritance or with a silver spoon in their mouths. So if you're not given the proper resources, statistics already have shown that a person that's put in an environment of crowded spaces, of violence, of low poverty, of miseducation, not the right education, they are prone to violence, they are prone to crime. So if you create that situation, to me, you cannot backdoor and say, well, you cannot backdoor and create a system when that same system put those people in that situation. To me, that's a system that has already set you up to fail. But enough about what I believe and what is actually being what I'm saying. Let me read you some statistics. Now, I took this article from a statistical journal, and it said, and it's actually talking about who is investing. So I'm actually read this. It says at least 37 states have legalized the contracting of prison labor by private corporations that mount their operations inside state prisons. The list of such companies contains the cream of U.S. corporate society, and these are the corporations that actually invest into the cooperation, that actually invest into the prison system as a corporation. IBM, Boeing, Motorola, Microsoft, AT&T Wireless, Texas Instrument, Dell. Now keep in mind, Texas Instrument makes the actual calculators that we use in schools. That's one compartment that I know of. Dell, Compaq, Honeywell, Hewlett-Packard, Nortel, Lucent Technologies, 3Com, Intel, Northern Telecom, TWA, Nordstrom, Relvon, Macy's, Perry, Cardin, Target stores, and I mean it just goes off the charts about how all these industries actually feed their money to their institutions, when some of these are actually supposed to fund education. I read a California stat. I think it said that it's actually called Do the Math in Schools, and it said that, and this is in the state of California, I believe. Prisons spent $62,300 on one person on prisons, and they spent $9,100 on schools. So let's do the math on that. Let's actually look at that. Let's do the math on that. Now, keep in mind, I want you guys to keep in mind that everybody wants to talk about what's the solution, right? What's the solution to lowering the incarceration rate? Now, the system, the powers that be, even asked this question: what is the solution to lowering the incarceration rate and improving education? But let's do the math on that. So 62,300 minus 9,100 equals, the balance of that is $53,200. That means that there is $53,200 going more towards prisons than towards education. That is ridiculous. So everybody wants to know what's the solution to the problem. I just showed you the solution to the problem, that there is actually more money to incarcerate people in impoverished, low conditions. And as much money as this is, these prisons don't have a walk in the park. These prisons don't have sufficient water, sufficient living conditions. These guys are living like animals. Okay? So a $53,000 margin between schools and between prison. And I believe this is in the state of California. So everybody wants to know, what is the solution? I'm going to read you another stat. Privately run prisons, they receive as little as 17 cents per hour for a maximum of 6 hours a day. Now, keep in mind about the labor laws that we have, about the Pacific labor laws as we have. Now, we fight against, I remember in history class back in the day, reading a book called Upton Sinclair called The Jungle, I want to say it is. And it talked about the actual child labor that it had, paying basically, or if you think about Nike, China, if you think about all our products that are imported or made in other countries, they get cheap labor for, but they sell it like, a pair of Nikes may be, or a pair of Jordans may be made for 20 cents, but over here they sell it for $200. But yet in the prison system, they'll send you to prison, and these people get 17 cents for a 6 hour day. So almost a full day. So almost a full day's time, they get 17 cents per hour. That is equivalent to $20 per month. The highest paid private prison is CCA, which is in Tennessee, where prisoners receive 50 cents per hour for what they call highly skilled positions. At those rates, it is no surprise that inmates find the pay in federal prisons to be very generous. There they can earn $1.25 an hour and work 8 hours a day, and sometimes overtime. They can send home $200 to $300 per month. Now think about that. The U.S. is very, very hard on child labor. Look how hard we are on labor laws. I had a situation at my current employer where I volunteered to take a pay cut to basically work on something else. My human resource department would not allow me to voluntarily take a pay cut. Voluntarily. I was willing to put it in writing. I was willing to do whatever I had to do to basically let them know, hey, you're off the hook. I was voluntarily taking a pay cut to go work at another job. However, because of the U.S. labor laws, they told me that I could not do that. However, this same system that said that rejected me from doing that says, oh, well, you broke the law. Okay, well, we're going to pay you 17 cents to manufacture a product that we sell for $200. Now, what's the difference of taking our goods, our materials and goods, and putting together a product in another country where they pay people 10 to 20 to 30 cents per day, way low above the standards for human labor in order for humans to survive, and then it becomes an import. What is the difference? So are we setting a double standard? I think we are. So I'm gonna continue this conversation. Remember to check me out, www.ubewize. This is more than music. It's about of movement. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to everybody. Make sure you be safe. Actually, I don't believe in Christmas. I don't actually believe in the holidays, but I think you get the gist. If you do celebrate the tradition, make sure, man, you tell everybody that you love them. Make sure you're working hard on your dreams. Be safe out there, man. Make sure, man, it's about these times are still about, every day is about family. So make sure, man, you tell your people that you love. Make sure you tell them you love them. Make sure you understand. Make sure they understand that you love them. BWIZE, stay tuned. We're going to talk about this next time. Peace.